Fair Use. Daily Reflections. This is a book of reflections by AA members for AA members. July 23rd. I ask God to decide. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 76. Having admitted my powerlessness and made a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand Him, I don't decide which defects get removed, or the order in which defects get removed, or the time frame in which they get removed. I ask God to decide which defects stand in the way of my usefulness to Him and to others, and then I humbly ask Him to remove them. Courage to Change, One Day at a Time in Al-Anon, July 23rd. A miraculous change has come about because of my commitment to the Al-Anon program. I have discovered that I have a sense of humor. When I came to these rooms, I never cracked a smile and resented anyone who did. I couldn't understand all the laughter during meetings. I didn't hear anything funny. Life was tragic and serious. Recently, I was sharing about a series of events that I had found extremely difficult. It had been one of those weeks in which everything seemed to go wrong. The odd part was that now that it was over, I found my traumatic tale incredibly funny, and so did most of the others at the meeting. More than any other change I have observed in myself, I find this the most glorious. It tells me that I see myself and my life in a more realistic way. I am no longer a victim full of self-pity and bent on control of every aspect of my life. Today, I can take myself and my circumstances more lightly. I can even allow joy and laughter to be a part of a difficult experience. Today's reminder: if I take a step back and look at this day as if I were watching a movie, I am sure to find at least a moment where I can enjoy some comic relief. And there's a quote from Ethel Barrymore, and it reads, "You grow up the day you have the first real laugh at yourself." Just for today, Daily Meditations for Recovering Addicts, July 23rd. Surrendering self-will. We want and demand that things always go our way. We should know from our past experience that our way of doing things did not work. Basic text, page 93. All of us have ideas, plans, goals for our lives. There's nothing in the NA program that says we shouldn't think for ourselves, take initiative, and put responsible plans into action. It's when our lives are driven by self-will that we run into problems. When we are living willfully, we go beyond thinking for ourselves. We think only of ourselves. We forget that we are but a part of the world and that whatever personal strength we have is drawn from a higher power. We might even go so far as to imagine that other people exist solely to do our bidding. Quickly we find ourselves at odds with everyone and everything around us. At this point, we have two choices. We can continue in our slavery to self-will, making unreasonable demands and becoming frustrated because the planet doesn't spin our way. Or we can surrender, relax, seek knowledge of God's will and the power to carry that out, and find our way back to a condition of peace with the world. Thinking, taking initiative, making responsible plans. There's nothing wrong with these things, so long as they serve God's will, not merely our own. Just for today, I will plan to do God's will, not mine. If I find myself at odds with everything around me, I will surrender self-will. Today, Emotions Anonymous, July 23rd. Reflection for today. Today I took my 2-year-old son to the carnival where he rode on a tiny fire truck with no less than 9 steering wheels, none of which could actually turn the vehicle. My son was nevertheless very serious and spun the wheel furiously, as did the other children beside him. Isn't this how God must see us, as children many times, intent on what actually means so little and controlling so little of where we really are going? Meditation for today. When I find life grim or think the stakes are high, let me recall again that I am in a spiritual childhood, and you wish me to enjoy my ride through life. Today I will remember, I need not take myself so seriously. Strengthening my recovery. Meditations for adult children of alcoholics, dysfunctional families. July 23rd. Grief and childhood. Genuine grieving for our childhood ends our morbid fascination with the past and lets us return to the present, free to live as adults. Confronting years of pain and loss at first seems overwhelming. BRB, which means Big Red Book, page 83. We may have been going to meetings for many years, lamenting the slings and arrows of our recovery life. Perhaps we thought we were living life on life's terms, doing the best we could, but often progress seemed to come in dribs and drabs. This left us with a sense of frustration at the little spiritual progress we had made despite our best efforts. But what may have been missing was the willingness to genuinely grieve for our lost childhoods. Grief work is not about just learning to tell our story, but about starting to discover and express the underlying trauma and emotions. Doing this level of work is the true path to freeing ourselves. When we are no longer held in place by the disembodied stories and the undercurrent of repressed feelings, we can begin to take positive action, change our life's terms, find joy in the present, and feel alive for possibly the first time. The affirmation reads, "On this day I will tell the real story of my childhood trauma. In doing so, I will free my true self and enjoy this day my higher power has given me." Please share, subscribe, like, and most of all, be the you that you are created to be. And remember that recovery is absolutely possible and that you are not alone, one day at a time.